On July 24, 1847, pioneers settle in Salt Lake City, Utah. Within days, Mormon leader Brigham Young identifies where the temple and headquarters will be. The location is oriented to the local topography, much like the Giza Plateau. An accurate representation of a humanoid foot stands at the western edge of the valley. Parley Pratt surveyed and drew the county line beginning at the toes, or Black Rock. The line circumnavigates what becomes key water sources and the most valuable mineral resources anywhere. If these truly are remnants from some sort of lost civilization, then this is the place for the characteristics and attributes of intelligent exploits, including obelisks and flooded corridors inside step pyramid-shaped mountains. The Great Salt Lake Valley could have been exploited long ago by an unidentified intelligence for a purpose. Evidence like orthogonal and parabolic geometry is foundational to an extraordinary, measurable pattern of mountain peaks, features, and rectangular ancient tunnels that share the same esoteric angles, motifs, size, and orientations to water. In this section, you will see where the anomaly is occurring in the Great Salt Lake County and what it may be. A broad illustration starts west of the capital city at Adobe Rock, with a line heading east precisely 43 miles to Park City. The line cuts through Farnsworth Peak, the center of the Salt Lake Valley, Pete's Rock, and Mount Olympus. After intersecting mining works like the Spiro Tunnel, it then terminates at a pyramid-shaped mountain that rises above Queen Esther's Shaft, and she seems to be thrilled. Geometry similar to the Giza Plateau corresponds to the topography and internal pattern of a 1,500-foot shaft meeting a 15,000-foot horizontal tunnel. The attributes are duplicated in Park City along the county line at about the same 3.6-mile scale. Another iteration across the valley shares the same orientation over the Snyderville Basin. We will now take a closer look at each area, beginning with the central Mount Olympus. A common 3.6-mile survey distance meets Grandeur Peak to the north and exposes another similarly situated 1,700-foot-long Neff's Cave, a source of water for the county. The shaft is almost identically situated to Mount Olympus as the shafts for Thames and Ontario are. The slope of the cave resembles the angle of the interior of the Great Pyramid. At the base of Neff's Peak is a feature that aligns to what is called a funerary temple at Giza that sends a causeway out to meet the Great Sphinx. In this case, that corresponds to Pete's Rock, right back on the median of the Salt Lake Valley. Grandeur's star-shaped peak is the third pyramid of the complex that rises above an area called Pharaoh's Glen. The geometry could extend to include the so-called Fourth Pyramid, or Queen's Temples. Similar to Neff's, another possible temple feature at the base used to have a man-made pipeline from the natural spring that came down from the mountain in alignment with the Mount Olympus Public Park. So each mountain has multiple lines of evidence supporting a functional geometry. Former Utah Senator Mitt Romney has a residence nearby on the line with a reported secret room and used to own a sprawling Deer Valley mansion directly east, right next to the prominent pyramid-shaped mountain near Queen Esther's Shaft. A smaller pyramid-shaped hill split by the county line fits a reoccurring geometry as a possible valley temple with a small horizontal mining tunnel known as Park City East. The riches of George Hurst and the United Kingdom in the late 1800s came almost exclusively from Bald Eagle Mountain. Like Neff's shaft, his 1,500-foot Ontario shaft meets the 15,490-foot Keatley Drain Tunnel, known to be the pinnacle of mining standards and key source of water. Solon Spiro is credited for duplicating the tunnel in 1916 with Jupiter Peak as its common objective. The Thane shaft meets it at the 1,500-foot level. The venture was most profitable as a drain and is another major source of water for the surrounding counties. Lone Hill or Flagstaff Peak speculatively appear analogous to Giza's third pyramid. It is the vantage Native Americans revealed to the Spanish expedition in 1776 in Solidarity. Today, the historic shaft, like many others, is filled with sand. It is the knowledge of the geometry and the tactical advantage it would give the indigenous people that doomed them instead. Treasure Mountain houses the possible Valley Temple remnant, complete with another significant passage known as the Creole Mine. Claims are so abundant that very coincidentally they personify the locations of Giza's gravesites with names like Silver King and Silver Queen, or Three Kings. So, what could be happening here? With all of these shared angles, distances, and underground similarities, is this some kind of machine? Experts say the exploit is like a terrestrial spark gap. Nikola Tesla created these conditions to induce St. Elmo's fire. Lightning is effectively captured and stored for immediate wireless use. Like a water wheel, the machine operates perpetually as long as there's water. First, it allows free-flowing water into a horizontal tunnel. When enough water fills the corridor, a check valve, like a ball, slams the drain shut, and the water is forced upward through a one-way ball valve that prevents its return. The pulsing vibration causes piezostatic electricity to induce electrolysis that creates enough hydrogen and oxygen to ignite an implosion that forces water upward and makes the final output of the pump steady. Water can then be reserved or used immediately for work. Nikola Tesla demonstrated how that energy can be invested or leveraged until it reaches a point to where it itself is a spark gap between the earth and sky, and theoretically a place to plug in.